am pretty much, I'm decided here. There's no bubble. And we are back. You are chatting with John P. Today we are going to be talking about the Rolex bubble. Here's the thing. I did not want to talk about this Rolex bubble, by the way, which I do not believe exists, but we get a lot of calls at delraywatch.com over and over again talking about Rolex models, the Rolex bubble, when is it going to burst, and it's such a hot topic. I have to at least throw my hat in the ring, especially considering I have a very unpopular opinion and argument about why there actually is no Rolex bubble. But if you like this video and you like my previous videos and you've been around or maybe you're new, hit that subscribe button. If you are new, we talk about watches, vintage watches, a little bit of other things thrown in, and we like to have a little bit of fun here. And I like to think we like to break the mold of a traditional YouTube watch channel, but let me know what you guys think. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time when we make another video. So let's get right into it. The Rolex bubble. Everyone's talking about it. I generally get the idea from customers that call in and say, hey, John, you know, like this is what this YouTuber said. This is what that YouTuber said. Sorry, getting over a bit of a cold. And my comments about this whole Rolex bubble is, it just seems to be not favorable among collectors. And so I got to let this one loose. I do not see there being a Rolex bubble. Now, let's go ahead and let's further kind of define this, right? So generally people say that there's a Rolex stainless steel watch bubble. And when you think of bubbles, it's kind of about an asset, right? In economics, a bubble is pretty much an asset that just grew very quickly in price and then tanked and crashed. You know, by nature, it goes up and it goes down and it crashes. Now, there are many different arguments in economic theory and economic thought between all types of economists all around the world, and some say, you know, it's based purely on speculation. Some say it's, you know, third unaffiliated incentives that are causing this to happen. But regardless of that, I don't think that a bubble even exists. I mean, also by definition, you know, normal traditional economic theory definition, you know, the bubble has to pop and there has to be a crash before you can call it a bubble. So I think everyone's a little bit premature in that regard. But let's set that aside now that we kind of know that what the bubble is. For those of you that are not familiar, I'm sure all of you probably already are. But what I've done very quickly, right? And I'm surprised I haven't done this sooner. I've just kind of, you know, gone with the herd on this, but I found something very interesting in the numbers, and I'm a big numbers guy. Numbers don't lie. Math was probably one of my strongest, you know, classes back in university, and I really took pride in math. And so I did this very quickly. So if the numbers are a little off in terms of retail prices of these watches, you know, please let me know in the comments below. But I think I'm pretty good at it, and I think that the numbers are pretty strong in the favor of my argument. And so what I've done is I've taken all the stainless steel sports Rolex models, and I just added up the retail prices, and then based on my database that I have that I built for delraywatch.com, a proprietary system that determines what the market value is from a dealer or private party, I've kind of taken the average price that one could sell a new example of one of these watches on the market, you know, should they need to sell it today, you know, not liquidate it, but just average market price. And then I've determined what the change is, what the delta is, and just seeing what either the increase or the decrease is. And I think that you'll be very surprised to see my findings. And after I go through the numbers, I'll also tell you why I think that this is the way it is and the findings that I found, you know, what is kind of causing this. So let me pull out my notes and go over these models one by one, and you might be a little bit surprised. So first, I've broken these watches into two kind of categories. One category is the stainless steel Rolex sports models that I think are very, very hot to this day. And the other ones are maybe not so much. I haven't gotten calls on them in a while, and this is one of the only pieces of my argument that is a little bit opinion-based, but it doesn't affect the numbers in any bit because it's just math at the end of the day. So regardless of how I classify them, the numbers still would work out the same. But in terms of making this video, so you can skip ahead or do what you need to do, I have broken it down into the two categories, and it does make the data look a little bit interesting in parts. Not so much the sum, but in parts certainly so. So let's go. A sub ceramic, oh by the way, these are all current gen retail prices from AD, no discount, and that's the retail price, and then I told you what the other number was. So let's talk about it. A sub date, 8550. $8,550 US dollars, second-hand price, $9,000, roughly, brand new in box. Hulk, 9K, second-hand, brand new, 13K. Batman, 9K, second market, 13K. Stainless steel Daytona, 12.4 is the retail, second-hand price, roughly 20K. It seems to be going down a little bit, but we'll go with the average price that I told you, 20K. The Pepsi, 8,800, that's selling at 1,600, probably the biggest change there. So this first group, what we'll do is we'll just add up kind of the retail prices, giving us around 48,000 US dollars. And then what we have is what they sell for after the first person sells them, after purchasing from the AD, brand new in box, stickers removed, stickers not removed, that doesn't affect it too much, $72,000. So with this first grouping of the hottest, in my opinion, the hottest watches that Rolex offers, the hottest stainless steel sports Rolex models, yes, there has been a 50% increase between the first person buying it at the AD, not including taxes, and the person selling it out on the market. Now, there could be even less of an increase depending on which person in line you are, and that goes into another theory. I don't know if I'll mention it in this video or another one, or maybe I'll just ignore it altogether. And I'll admit my economic theory is a little bit slipping since university days, but I am definitely running a train of thought in my mind. So anyway, 50% increase on the first grouping of watches. Now, the second grouping of stainless steel sports Rolex models is where this gets very interesting, and these are kind of watches that are ignored by a lot of people, including dealers. And so the numbers are going to be shocking for some of you that think that all the prices have gone up. So let's go at it. A Sea Dweller 126660, retail, 11,350, selling on the second-hand market, 11,500. And once again, these are new prices second-hand. When I say second-hand, it's just selling not from an AD. So, a Yachtmaster 2 stainless steel, retail, 19,600, selling for 14,000 on average. Skydweller steel, 14.4 is the retail, selling for 16,500. That one went up a little bit, but it has gone on about $2,000 in the last month or so. Explorer 239, retail price $8,100, and a sale price of $7,500 on the second market. A Milgauss. Okay, Milgauss was very hot for a moment. $8,200 retail, selling brand new inbox, papers, the whole kit, $6,700. And the Air King, the new Air King 40, retail of about $6,200, selling brand new in box for about $5,200. And with this grouping, what we have is a total retail of roughly $68,000 and a total sale price if you went and sold it on your own or from even a dealer. You'd probably get a little less even if you're on your own because none of these are that hot besides the Skydweller, $61,200. That's a 10% decrease, okay? Wait a second. 10% decrease. I thought there was a bubble. I thought there was a crazy increase in all the stainless steel Rolex sports models according to, everybody. Okay, so now let's ignore the groupings. Let's say that you had a pool of money, or maybe you already do, and you want to go to Rolex AD, Mr. Jones Rolex AD, and you want to buy, I don't know, all of his stainless steel Rolex sports models. And I'm sure there are people that do want to do this and have done this. I don't know that I would recommend this. I don't recommend watches as investments anyway. But let's say you did that. Now let's give you the total. So for all the watches we mentioned, oh, by the way, if I missed any, let me know in the comments. I kind of put this together a little bit fast. I wanted to get this to you, but I think I got it all for you. So the total price would be $116,000 US dollars and some change. And, okay, and if you had to sell it, that would be $133,000 and $200. So what you have is a rough difference or an increase of 17,150. Okay, well, without considering tax, by the way, most of you in the United States are paying, sales tax on this, so it's even higher. But without tax, that's only a 14% increase compared to what the 80s are selling for. So 14%. Now let's just go ahead and get crazy with it and factor in tax, right? There's going to be a 7.5% sales tax. I think that's the United States national average. Sure, there's going to be a lot of countries and places where there's probably not sales tax. I'm not up on my worldwide international sales tax laws, but in the US, roughly 7.5%. I think that's what it is here in Miami. I mean, when you look at it, then you're all the way up to $124,000 roughly buy-in to buy these things retail, still sell them for $133,200, and you have a difference of about 7%. Now, factoring in, this is the best case scenario, by the way. This is the best case scenario. If you pay tax, 7% increase. Without that, we'll remove the tax because I guess people can buy these things and get them shipped, or you're not paying sales tax all the time. 14% increase across the board when you look at the average for stainless steel Rolex sports models. And we're not even factoring in the non-stainless steel Rolex sports models. So for me to say that there's a bubble, let's just assume that part of the definition, or the generally accepted definition among leading economists, is that there has to be the crash and you can only call it a bubble after the bubble happens. Let's just look at these numbers and say, can we really call a 14% increase over the course of the last few years a bubble? Personally, while there's not a percentage increase in any written definition of the word that I've found, I just don't see a 14% increase to be a bubble. I just don't. It's not crazy. 14%, it's just not that crazy. And then these are new watches, by the way. Let's not forget the watches that, how much some of these are trading at pre-owned. Sure, some are still trading very high, like the Pepsi and the Daytona. But we have some things on the list like an Air King, or the Explorer 239, or like the Yachtmaster 2 in stainless steel. Let's not even forget about what that sells for pre-owned compared to retail. I'm sorry, I cannot consider a 14% increase across the board to be a bubble. Now, I would say that if someone wanted to get a little more specific with it, a little more particular about the the terminologies and the usage of words and determining what is a bubble here, sure, we could say that a Rolex Daytona, white dial, ceramic, okay, maybe there could be a bubble on that at some point. Maybe it's going to go down. And that's the thing, when we talk about bubbles and economic bubbles and speculative increases in prices based on what their intrinsic values are, compared to, it goes on and on about different things about, discounted, cash values and things of that nature. I'll admit I'm not an economist, but just from what I remember, and once again, 14%. It doesn't do it for me. I can't move over the line from saying this is a bubble or this will be a bubble. Let's say that there's a third-party factor that's just causing this all to happen, right? Let's say that this is based on or correlated or even caused by, markets. Let's say that because the U.S. market and some of the other international, financial markets had such bullish runs in the year 2018, at least, early 2018 or late 2017, I believe. I'm also not a financial advisor. There was a bull run for a bit, and now we could say that the numbers have come down a little bit in this, more bearish of times. Let's say that the U.S. market completely tanked. Are people going to be dumping their watches? And if so, how much could they possibly go down in value compared to only a 14% across the board average increase in stainless steel Rolex sports models? Now, I know I'm kind of rambling a bit at this point, and I won't bore you with any more boring economics and things like that, because I want to hear what you have to say about this. Do you agree with me in that it's a little bit too premature to call this a bubble? Why do you guys think that this is happening? There are some clear outliers here that are driving up some of the groupings of the increased averages up. For example, the Daytona, the Pepsi. But then again, those two watches are probably the two Rolex watches that not only have the most buzz for that specific reference number, but also that model in general. Let's not forget about the whole Paul Newman Daytona selling at auction. People could be possibly speculating based on future values of what they perceive that watch to be worth in the future, along with the Pepsi GMT, just the buzz around it, and it's so new. What do you guys think about this? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I want to hear what you have to say, because I am I'm decided here. There's no bubble. So let me know what you think. Also, what you think is going to happen. Once again, I like Rolex, even though I'm not wearing stainless steel. I'm wearing a gold vintage Datejust. So I don't buy into the whole modern day, Rolex stainless steel thing that everyone thinks is going on, because the numbers don't show that it's going on. And I've decided that. Let me know what you guys think. Am I being ridiculous? Am I not looking at something? Am I leaving something out? Please let me know what you think, and hopefully we can have some great conversation in the comments about this. It's interesting to me, and hopefully it's interesting to you. Anyways, guys, just a very quick episode to talk to you about how, according to the numbers, the Rolex bubble does not exist. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't hit the thumbs down button. There's some guys hitting it. I feel like I'm not that horrible to listen to, but if I am, let me know, because maybe I'm crazy. Anyway, guys, just a quick episode. Thanks for watching. You have been chatting with John P. Ciao.